Herbie, we're live.
We're live. Welcome, beautiful people. We're here at the Thunderdome on this Tuesday, August 26th. Football! Cannot wait to be here, boys.
That was funny.
Hell yeah, Herbie.
Peter's here.
Yes.
I feel a little bit outmanned because I don't have D-Bud here.
Sure.
So this is going to be fun. Couple hours to be able to break down some college football. We're going to talk NFL football. We've got some great guests lined up today. Al Michaels will be hopping on here shortly. We'll be able to talk.
He's got a golf ball. I just don't want him to choke.
Yeah, swallow anything he's not supposed to.
Yeah, I'm real worried about just sitting up here watching Peter think he's going to die choking on his golf ball the whole entire show, but that's okay.
You know what? He kind of does whatever he wants to do.
What are you going to do?
What? And by the way, this is awesome. I mean, he's got a whole play area here in the Thunderdome to be able to just chase.
Well, we actually, funny enough, we work here, so usually dogs don't just run around and make it all messy, but hey, it's Peter's world.
The good news is he's not going to drop a deuce, so you don't have to worry about that.
There you go.
He's a little bit perplexed on what's happening here with the camera.
So football, NFL, college football, it's just so much better when we get to this time
Did you guys envision this? Like, is this what you guys, when Pat had this thing going, is this kind of what you guys envisioned, doing this every day and talking sports and it getting to become this big of a thing?
Oh, I mean, I was smoking cigarettes when I started working there, brother. So no, I wasn't really thinking about it too much. I definitely did not think that freaking Dr. Pepper would sponsor the program. I mean, that's the coolest thing ever. But no, I had no idea.
Yeah. Being on the same stage as you. I mean,
exactly.
There's been so many different forms of the show, like, since we started. You know, I mean, like, we did radio for a little bit and everything. But, yeah, to think it was going to be here. And then, I mean, you know, once the season starts, like, we were on the sidelines of the national championship, like, watching that game, calling it for work. So I don't think speaking for myself, I don't think any of us could have imagined it would get to this point.
We always did the show, but it wasn't always a daily show. Like, we started with the podcast, and that was, what was it, like 3 times a week or something like that.
Yeah.
And then we went to radio, and it became every day. And it just, it feels better as like an everyday, because then, like, everyone watching keeps up with all the storylines that we're always talking about. And then also, you know, like, the reason why our show is great is, like, the fans are also invested, I think, like, in our personal lives as well.
Yeah.
So it's like
they get to know you. They get to know that part of you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
They're invested in not just the show and
Correct.
the Trey Hendrickson kind of stories, but like what's going on with your lives. But let's flip it to that.
Yeah.
I know this story broke, I believe, after you guys were off the air.
Yeah.
You haven't had a chance to really react. I kind of grew up as a Bengals fan. I'm kind of impartial now. Doing my job, it's interesting. 30th year, I get a chance to get to know these guys as college players.
30th year.
Yeah, wow.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Good for you. Sorry.
No, it's all right. And I end up kind of pulling for guys, you know, and stories as opposed to, you know, crying if the Bengals lost. But Trey Hendrickson finally getting signed. And it's interesting, when Burrow signed and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, everybody thought, is there any money left for guys like Hendrickson? And the way this thing went on and on and on, we wondered if it would ever, finally, would they be able to get to an agreement? Your reaction to this is a defense that struggled mightily last year. Does this give Joe Burrow and the Bengals some hope to get him back?
Definitely hope, I would say. I mean, Trey Hendrickson's unbelievable. This whole thing started at Radio Row when Trey, you know, reached out to Pat and wanted to talk to him about about the entire situation. So it has been going on for quite some time. Rap Sheet kind of alluded to it yesterday, that the offer that, you know, Trey had turned down initially was a massive pay bump for this year, but no future money, which is exactly what he was looking for, which is, you know, when he came on the program. And the biggest thing, I think, for all of us when he came on the program was how much how much he loved Cincinnati, the city. Like, he even said, hey, look, if the best thing for the Bengals is to trade me, I hope they get stuff back that they can then go use to help them win a Super Bowl. Like, he wants Cincy to win a Super Bowl, so that's very clear. Yeah. I'm just bummed out for him because he didn't get what he got, or get what he wanted to get, you know, or what I think he deserves, what I think everybody believes he deserves. So that's the only bummer for me.
I know. I assume the Bengals are happy because it's kind of, you know, just like reading the tea leaves. They weren't exactly looking to give him a 3-year deal or whatever with 2 years guaranteed. So they got on their side the 1 year for $30 million, which it's also good for Trey. I mean, he does get a $14 million pay bump for this year. but he's also now controlled kind of by the team through next year because he doesn't have a no franchise tag clause. So they can franchise him again this year, and he's playing on another one-year deal, which I know because, I mean, talking to Pat and D-Bud and AJ, and we just talk about players all the time, they want that, like the certainty of having a paycheck for 3 or 4 years or whatever. Now he's got the certainty of it this year, but if something happens this year, you know, if he has an injury, like was terrible for him, then that screws him. But, you know, I mean, he got the $14 million pay bump. He's making $30 million this year. But I assume as a Bengals team that has control of him now for 2 years he's making $10 million less than Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. I think they probably feel good. What do you think?
I want to, Ty, let me ask you this, because the Bengals defense last year, Joe Burrow could have been the MVP. The Bengals could have gone, obviously, to the postseason. Slow start, again, hurt them last year. They're trying to avoid that happening this year. They fired their defensive coordinator. They bring in Al Golden from Notre Dame. He's an outstanding defensive mind. They could not have looked any worse, even though it's preseason football. They've been a sieve for 3 preseason games coming off the year they had last year. I think the optics of it, you almost had to make this happen if you're the organization. Sir, yes, sir.
All I can say is, dude, this is your one day off over the next 6 months. And this is how you spend it? You are an animal. And I don't mean a golden retriever. You're an animal.
Hey, a friend asked for some help, and I just hopped in. That's all there is to it. How you doing, man? I got a chance to see you in New York. You want to talk a little bit about your off season? I know what you do, but what do you like to do when you're not calling football games and you are hanging out with your wife Linda and your family? What do you do to kill time?
Little traveling, love to read, and I've watched, I think, every football documentary. There are now like 9,000 of them out there getting ready for the season. But it's funny. I mean, the off season just goes faster and faster these days. And I mean, to me, it feels like May. How did we get to the end of August? So here we are, but it's exciting. It's an exciting time. We've got a good schedule, as you know, and away we go 2 weeks from Thursday.
And you're now a scratch golfer, right?
Really?
Ooh.
Yeah, they scratched me from the roster at the Bel Air Country Club. I am. You know what? They call it a reversion to the mean in analytics when things go bad, but the next year they go good. No. My graph in golf is straight down, baby.
But you're a blast. But people that play with you, they see you over at the club. They're like, "Al, you're in. Let's go."
Couple cocktails on the course?
Yeah, it's fun. No. We're very sober. But I mean, look, the great thing about golf is camaraderie. People in football, obviously in football, you know better than anybody. You talk about the camaraderie in the locker room, and that's what you take with you. Same thing in golf. You go out there, let's have a bunch of laughs.
Al, I think the bonus that I have with calling games with you on Amazon Prime is the downtime. Whether it's a dinner on Wednesday night or whether it's just hanging out, you telling stories of the 1980 Olympics, or you telling a story about your perspective of a Super Bowl you called or a World Series. Looking back at all these amazing events, I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, which one stands out to you and for what reason when you've called that many exciting moments?
Well, nothing will ever top 1980 because it meant so much to the country. And, some people, I'm sure, are probably tired of hearing about it. It's 45 years ago, when the U.S. defeated the Soviets and still had to beat Finland in the Olympics in Lake Placid. But the world was in such a strange place at that time where, as a country, we didn't feel very good about ourselves. We had hostages being held in Iran. The crime rate was almost 20%. People were upset about a lot of things at that point. And all of a sudden, we had no chance to win the game against the Soviets, and we did. And then won the gold medal. So because of what that meant to the United States, nothing can ever top that. I mean, I've done Super Bowls that have gone down to the end that have been phenomenal, World Series games that have been great, playoff baseball games that have been terrific. But how can you beat that when it meant so much to the country? And it wasn't really about hockey for most people. It was us against them at a particular point in the Cold War. So nothing will ever top that for me.
Yeah. And was the movie close to being accurate?
The movie was very close. I mean, obviously all movies take some literary license, but I think the director, Gavin O'Connor, did a tremendous job. He stayed as true as he could to the story. And when you look at, Herb Brooks was the coach, and the way he was portrayed in that movie was phenomenal, unbelievable. I mean, Kurt Russell, as Herb Brooks, was as close to reality as anything I've ever seen in a movie. He studied like crazy. He's been a great friend for years, and I mean, he nailed it. It was perfect.
Yeah, and we were driving over to the game the other night. We were adding up, what year is this for you, Al, and just doing national broadcasts, and what year is this in the NFL?
NFL 40 years.
40th year.
And
Jeez.
yeah, network
Hell
television was. I started in 1976 with ABC, so that's another 10 years on top of that. Do you know who I actually started with at ABC?
Who?
Bob Iger.
Wow.
Really?
Bob and I go all the way back to the start of our careers.
Wow.
So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
how's he doing these days, buddy?
He's doing pretty well.
Not as good as you.
Yeah, you're both doing pretty well. Al, thanks so much for hopping on with us today. Really appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you September 11th when we get started up at Lambeau with the Commanders and the Pack.
Kirk, you've got, 11 college football games before I see you again. Be good,
man.
dude. Take care, guys.
Take care, brother. Appreciate it. Yeah. Getting out of the gate, that's how we do it, Peter.
He's the
Good
best.
job.
Yeah, he is.
40 years.
40th year in the NFL, and he said he got started in network television in 1976.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, just a man. And I know it's a different era. I know that we were talking at the break. I like Pat Summerall. I like that kind of call. I like Joe Buck. I like Mike Tariq. I love Al. Like, I love when the moment's right, punch it, but not in the first quarter for a touchdown or a 10-yard out. Like, but I think there's a younger generation of play-by-play guys that have realized, hey, one of the ways to really get some momentum is to go crazy, and I'm going to go viral for the call, no matter what sport it is. And for me, again, I'm from a different generation. I like it when it's special. Give it to me. Otherwise, I just call the game.
I agree 100%.
What do you got in the SEC?
Sleeper. I guess South Carolina, just because there are so many good teams in the SEC and Lenore Sellers, and then pick. I'm gonna go with Bama this year.
Bama.
I like
Yeah.
Wow, good for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Bama.
You're not hearing a lot of Bama right now,
No.
or Georgia.
Right, which is what, and I think Kalen DeBoer is a really good coach. I think last year, obviously, just trying to find your footing. I think they'll win the SEC this year.
Okay, Tone.
I'm actually going with Bama as well to win. I think Texas, Georgia, Bama.
No quarterback concerns at all?
There's definitely the quarterback, but I also think they have the best O-line in the country, potentially, with Caden Proctor at that left tackle position, and their defense is so good, and they get Ryan Grubb back. Sleeper is Texas A&M for me.
Okay,
Now,
good one.
If they could get the quarterback, if the quarterback position can progress like I think they can.
Marcel Reed.
Reed, they have a great offensive line, they have a great running back room, and I think Elko year 2
Love
with that
Mike
defense
Elko.
will be good.
Yeah.
A&M's my sleeper.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm not going to go Bama. I'm actually going to say South Carolina's going to
Wow.
not be a sleeper.
He watched the SEC doc and loved it.
I love Lenore Sellers, and I'm taking Lenore Sellers from the Heisman, and also I like how
Wow, you're all in.
Yeah, I like how we're all agreeing. Just, hey, let's not be the ones to pick Texas, even though Texas will probably win it. But I think, is this the most deep the SEC has been?
On paper, it looks like it. What's interesting is a lot of the behemoths are breaking in new quarterbacks.
Yep.
Like Georgia and Alabama. You have a lot of confidence in what they have around the position, but
LSU, maybe.
Who are you taking?
Maybe I'll switch to LSU.
LSU, I think, would be, I guess they're not chalk. It looks like Bama is. I flipped a coin between Texas and LSU. I'm going Texas.
Who's your sleeper?
Surprise team is Florida. I think DJ Lagway, if he's healthy, I was so impressed with him last year. We've talked about that, how their coach was fired. They started off slow, and then, I think they won 4 of their last 5 or 5 of their last 6, and only loss that he had was when he got injured as a starter against Florida or against Georgia. So I'm going to go with Florida. And I like your A&M as a sleeper as well. Let's bring in the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, the defending national champs, Coach Ryan Day. Coach, how are you, bud?
Great one.
Good to see you, man. You and I have talked a little bit, but I would love to ask you just an off-season as a defending national champ. Is it business as usual once you got done with the circuit? You just kind of get back to winter conditioning and recruiting. What was this like for you after you guys climbed the top of that mountain?
it was really like every other off season. The only difference was I get to do a lot of cool things. Right. Got a chance to see some great people and do some really, really cool stuff. But it was really just every other off season, maybe a little faster because of how late we ended the season. But spring practice came fast, and the new challenges came, and guys in a building wanted to move on, just like the coaching staff, and that was it. And I like to say, once the confetti hit the ground, it was on to the next season, and that's it. And so this is exciting, for us with a whole new group of guys, whole new journey, and our guys hold the pen to see what this story's like, because last year's story's been written, and here we go. We got a whole new start.
What in your mind, when you go through a season like last year, and they could make a movie out of last season, what are you able to take away? Because you're always learning and growing, right, as a coach. What can you take away from that to bring in to 2025 that you learned through some obvious ups and a few downs?
Well, with the new playoff system, we know it's going to be a long season. So, we have to make sure that again, it's not, I've heard people say this before, and I agree with it. It's not a marathon. It's 12 sprints, and you have to make sure that you're there every single week getting better. You identify what the problems are, then you grow from there. And, if things are going well, we can't overreact. If something goes bad, we can't overreact. We got to identify what the issues are, get them fixed, and then move forward with them, and then grow as the season goes on. And I think that's probably the most important thing. And then the older guys have to take accountability. I think when you have great teams, the leaders and the older guys are the ones that run the show.
So Jeremiah Smith, physically, I don't know. Maybe you've seen people that look like that as a true freshman. Adrian Peterson, in 30 years of doing it, Adrian Peterson and Jeremiah Smith are the only true freshmen I've seen that are built and able to do what they were able to do physically. Where does he go from here? Like, is it his off season? I can't imagine him getting stronger with Mick and getting quicker and getting more mature. What have you seen in camp from number 4?
Well, yeah, like my wife Nina says, she says, I don't remember anybody walking around our high school hallways looking like Jeremiah Smith.
No.
Said, no, it's because they weren't.
No, they weren't.
They don't exist. I think with Jeremiah, to your point, he early in the season was certainly very, very talented, but you saw him really take off in the second half of the year. I think there's just a certain level of confidence now going into the season, and he wants to win games. He knows what's going to happen. Teams are going to try to take him out in terms of coverage and different things. They're going to know where he is, but he loves to win. I think that's, he's a underspoken person. Like he doesn't, he's out in front of things. He's not trying to get out, in the media and say certain things, but he loves to win and he loves to compete. And so, when you lose a game, I mean, he's not himself for a while. He loves to win. And I think, he sees himself as winning back-to-back national championships. He has things he wants to get done here at Ohio State. Certainly everybody wants to talk about, where he's going to go next in the NFL, and he'll have a great career there. But he wants to leave a legacy behind. And, the way he works on a day-to-day basis is a great example to all of our players. Yeah. He's a tremendous role model just in how he handles himself, but the way he works every single day.
And we all know when the best players are your hardest workers, which you guys have had a lot of that, man, it just trickles down and really lets the team manage the personality as much as you try to stand up there and talk. When you got guys like that and Caleb Downs, I mean, that's a great place to start. Who you got, again, nothing against Iowa, because Iowa plays Iowa State every year. They've always played people, but it's interesting. That's a big topic, what direction you go in the non-conference, because Indiana, as an example, last year, sometimes it's just we got to 11 wins, we should be in. Not necessarily who you played.
Well, and the way it's changed, they're taking. If they lose that game, it's not the end of the year because it's not a conference game. You can still get a great seed in the playoffs, but they have every right to schedule Albany as opposed to Texas. But and this was the whole conversation when conference realignment started. We were the rivalry games, sure, but we were worried like these were the kind of games that we're going to start being absent from week 1, week 2, and stuff like that. So very commendable to both programs for agreeing like. Hey, let's play week 1.
We got Florida State, Alabama. You got Notre Dame, Miami. You got LSU and Clemson. I mean, there's some really, really intriguing, important week 1 matchups.
Start to finish.
Does he say take 5 at this hour or at the end of the show? Take 3?
Yeah.
Take 3.
Yeah, because it's only 3 minutes.
Well, we've had that first hour, by the way, for me, just flew by. Appreciate Al Michaels, Ryan Day hopping on.